What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Trunk Talk. I'm Hunter alongside Austin and Jason. Super excited to introduce you guys to this week's guest. Without further ado, Luka, thanks for being with us today, and just thanks for taking the time.
How are we doing? Thanks for having me.
So I guess to start it off, obviously, coming off of the season this year, the March Madness run, just tell your fans what you've been up to since the season came to a close, training, where you're at currently, what the day-to-day life looks like for you right now, and then we'll get into some of those basketball-specific questions.
For sure. I signed with Imperative Sports, which is an agency that's kind of local to where I'm from in Washington, D.C. So I'm living in D.C., working out, training. I'm doing a lot of different things to prepare myself for the NBA draft.
Are you living at home?
No, I'm living in an apartment in Chinatown, which is nice. Me and a player, Ryan Daly from St. Joe's, are living together and working out together.
Any good food in Chinatown? Are you a Chinese guy? Chinese food guy? What's your go-to spot over there?
Oh, they got me on. I got a chef now, so I'm eating all these prep meals. So I'm not eating too much of the Chinese food in Chinatown, but it is really good. I remember it from before I was on this diet.
Personal chef, tough life you're living out there, man.
What's your day-to-day like? Take us through your resume.
Yeah, for sure. So I wake up every day, go to workouts at around 9:30, 10. And that's my first, basketball workout of the day. Go 10 to 12. And then depending on the day, after workouts, it's either yoga for an hour, or I go and do my lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And then, other than that, just chilling. I get a workout in late night with my dad. So that's pretty much my day to day.
And how do you fit into that? Obviously super impressive with the NFT group, the fan club you created. So how does that fit into your schedule with training with the draft and everything like that?
Oh, it's something, it's kind of on the side that I think it's a lot of fun to do. And so I have a great team, and I hop in on meetings and give ideas and do different things like that. But I definitely organize my time well, and especially now that I've graduated, I don't have school to worry about, so I can, have more time for hobbies.
I know we love it. What you do. I think obviously us three being co-founders with Charles and Xavier, who well, and just seeing athletes off the court be able to not only like do what they like and their passions, but also like create business ventures. And you see so many like an Andre Iguodala today doing that kind of stuff. So like take us through. You started it. I guess it all started when you were the first college basketball player to really put an NFT on the market, and sort of that process. What was it like for you creating it? You made it very special, which we loved. Incorporating all of this tangible and intangible aspects, and then sort of how that has morphed into what you're creating now.
It was awesome. I had a lot of fun doing it. I had a great team around me to help kind of build the NFT, the graphic, and kind of my own ideas, into it as well, especially with the new 3 cards that are on OpenSea.io right now. But I wanted to make it unique. I wanted to make it special. Obviously, being able to give back to the Children's Hospital is something I'm very passionate about. So it was all in all, it was a lot of fun, and the card was made very well. And I actually met the person who won my first card, and he's an awesome guy, and he's helping me in the future with all the things I'm doing with NFTs.
You just came out with the group and the not only your fan club, but sort of your platform for that will hopefully allow college athletes to create their own NFTs. What was this? The inspiration was the original card, the inspiration, or you always had this in the back of your mind? Because I think it's great, and there's a lot up in the air of how can college athletes sort of capitalize on that kind of market?
Definitely. I think when I did my first NFT, a lot of athletes were reaching out to me about how did I do it, and it was a difficult process for me. I had to be able to find a lot of people, find a designer, find people to be able to push the content on different Twitter, Facebook, whatever the case may be. So I had to do a lot of different things, and obviously with the developing of the blockchain technology, so it was a lot to do. So for me, I thought it would be kind of cool if I could provide a service that could facilitate those things for college athletes, and especially as a college athlete, I know what that feels like. I had $28 in my bank account when the first NFT sold, so I really understand what that means to play at this level. And obviously with name, image, and likeness going to be passed, there needs to be a way to create a new revenue stream and be able to, monetize that for your name, image, and likeness, and it's just like another way to do it, much like, how the Players Truck is able to, make these money for athletes that are making money just off their own stuff.
Absolutely. You obviously have a lot on your plate, both, training on and off the floor, plus always meeting with your team with whether it's the NFT stuff, the fan club stuff. But when you do have a little bit of downtime, how do you spend that time? Are you a video game guy, a Netflix guy? How does Luka Garza spend whatever free time, however little that might be?
Yeah, there may not be much.
If there is any.
I'm definitely a Fortnite guy, video games. I enjoy doing that. Also just, when the playoffs are on or any NBA game, I love to watch. And, I'd say I have a couple different shows I'm watching. I'm watching Sopranos, HBO Max, which I like a lot. So I got a couple, different ways to spend my time, and always just kind of having fun.
I obviously Austin and I as Michigan guys being managers, I'm super close with Hunter Dickinson, and I know you grew up with him. What was it like playing against him? Your relationship. He is just a funny guy, easygoing. And obviously your dad being there, which he saw you guys grow up together, which I think is amazing, being so involved. Even you said earlier, like you get a workout with him in late night. So sort of how is it for you to see everything come full circle and you guys on the biggest stage and, everyone talking about that matchup?
It was a lot of fun. I think, I'm very excited for Hunter and how far he's developed and grown over time. Obviously I didn't have my best performance that game. It was just a tough night for me, but, we're still, competitors and we go after it. And, he played well and, we're still, in the last week in the gym together. So it's just, we're all about, just continue to work hard and push each other. And so he just entered his name in the NBA draft. So it's exciting to see what this process is going to do for him.
I always find it so interesting, like to hear from athletes who they look up to. I'm sure, like Jason mentioned, training with Hunter, you had an extreme impact on him. Did you have someone like that for you? Is there one player in the NBA that you really look up to or aspire to be like?
Oh, there's so many. When I was a kid, I would watch, all the old timers, all the greats, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kevin McHale, those type of guys that I watch and really tried to, put that stuff into my game. But, obviously in the new era, Nikola Jokic, Vucevic from Chicago, there's a lot of guys that I watch, even Joel Embiid, just on their skill and different things like that I can add into my game.
Who's your NBA MVP prediction? Do you have Jokic winning it, or you think
Yeah.
Curry's got it?
I think Jokic wins it. Obviously Curry had an unbelievable year, but they didn't make the playoffs, and Jokic was able to get the 3 seed, especially with Murray going down. And he's doing things that as a big man that we haven't really seen before. So I think it's an easy decision. I think Curry won the scoring record, and that's where he had a very successful season. But Jokic is the MVP.
You obviously, in the Big Ten, the level of competition, especially from the big man position, is crazy and night in and night out. Over your 4 years, you've played against some great, NBA players now, like a Jalen Smith and Xavier Tillman. Who was the toughest, or you can give me a few to play against and during your time at Iowa?
I was a freshman when Isaac House was a senior. So for me, that I wasn't what I am now. So as a freshman, that's the most difficult person I've ever had to guard, just because of how big he was and how strong he was and different things like that. So that was kind of a welcome to Division I, Big Ten level in terms of being able to play against him. And so I think that was kind of a shell shock as a freshman. But there, like you said, there's so many players that I've played against in this league that have been amazing. And it's hard to name them all, but it would be a long list.
Building off that, is there one place in particular that was always the toughest to play at on the road?
Yeah, I think people kind of agree on this, that Purdue is the hardest place to play. I'd say Michigan State is up there as well. Michigan's a tough place to play, Indiana, but I think Purdue and Michigan State kind of separate themselves from everybody else.
What's cool about Michigan State is, they have a student section literally surrounding the whole stadium, which is just
exactly. And it's a smaller arena. It's not as big as you think it would be, and that's why the crowd's really on top of the players. So, it's a fun environment to play in, and it was fun this year not to have to play against them with a full crowd and being able to beat them at their place.
You mentioned the full crowd, and I'm sure you hear fans chirping you, whatever they're saying on the road. You know, are you a big trash talker yourself? Do you let your game speak for itself? You know, what's your mindset there when you step onto the floor?
Oh, I'm definitely a trash talker. You know, especially if I got it going. You know, I'm gonna let that person know that I do have it going. So I'm definitely vocal. And you know, obviously I'm an emotional player, and you can see that when you watch me. So yeah, I grew up that way, playing around here in DC. That's just how we play basketball.
Who's matched it? Anyone match you?
You know, honestly, you know, I don't think anybody's, you know, kind of when I go at them matches me, but in terms of playing against other players who talk as well, I think Io was really good with it, and you know, obviously was playing well as well. You know, I think there's a lot of players that are able to do that. But for me, individually going one-on-one with anybody, when I start talking, it's usually silence on the other end.
Luka, we'll give you one last chance if you want to give the humble plug here. Anything with the fan club on the horizon? Anything you want to get off your chest to the audience we got?
Of course. You know, I got 3 cards for auction on OpenSea.io, and then I have the Club 55 membership on LukaGarza.io. So you go to either one of those things and look at that and make your choice. But you know, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everything you're doing with the Players Trunk for college athletes and all of that. It's awesome to see what you guys are doing and how each year you're taking off and having more players and bigger names, you know, join. And it's awesome because there's nothing like that, you know, right now for college basketball players besides you guys. So it's been really cool to see.
Yeah, awesome. That means the world to us, and having your support and the rest of the guys and girls we work with. That's what we set out to do, is always to kind of empower the athletes and put the power back in your guys' hands. So that truly means the world to us. And that wraps up this week's episode of Trunk Talk. Luka, thanks again, and stay tuned for next week's episode.